Hello friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Let's start our video with a story about breaking into someone else's property and the prison sentence that followed after that. But before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the like if you enjoy the content, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a juicy story. Being called entitled for changing my locks 2 years ago? So, Saturday night, my wife and I are lying in bed trying to go to sleep when I hear some noise from the back door. Storm door opens and slams shut. I'm not fully asleep yet, so I put on pants and shirt I can find and grab my trusty shotgun. We move to the mountainside, and most of the area is still wooded and living in such conditions. Wild animals are an issue. We have bears, coyote, raccoon, and bobcat to name a few. So as I'm moving to the back door, I hear a window break in the back garage. I look out and see someone breaking into my garage. I scream for the wife to call the sheriff office. Around here, 911 doesn't work well for breaking in. We're connected with a couple of counties, and it gets confusing for them. We get quicker response by calling them directly. I now go into mode thinking some meth head's trying to score some tools for quick cash. Got out of the house and noticed this person's truck still running. I did the only thing I could think of and took the key out of the truck and put it in my pocket and waited for the deputies to show up. Took them 20 minutes to show up. One was state police, the other was local sheriff deputy who were doing radar 10 miles up the road. Wife and I know them both. With my gun in hand, I told them someone was in the garage, and I haven't approached it yet, but here's the key to the perp truck. They go in, gun drawn out, and deal with the situation. The dude was passed out on an old bench seat for an old truck I have by the tool bench. They wake him up and arrest him with little to no issue other than him screaming profanity at them. They told me that I can press charges and to come in on Monday to file the paperwork. He's not getting out anytime soon, since on top of his breaking in, he's being charged with DUI. Yesterday, I spent the day traveling, trying to fix the window this a-hole broke since no stores are open Sunday in my local area. While in my travels, I'm fuming at the fact that I'm having to do this repair on a piece of junk door from the 70s. My wife was telling me maybe let him go with a warning, but I'm having none of it. So this morning I went to the sheriff's office. The same deputy was there that arrested the perpetrator, so I asked him how the ride with the dude was. This is the version the officer gave me. Officer: Why'd you break into the garage? Perp: I was trying to get my stuff back, but someone changed the lock. Officer: You know they purchased that place from Kevin 2 years ago, right? Perp: What? That doesn't give them the right to change the lock without telling me. Officer: Yeah, they can. You ain't been in that house for like 4 years, and I was the one who got you out of that house because you beat the hell out of your old lady. That's twice I get to arrest you on the same property. Perp: But he shouldn't be entitled to change the locks, though. Where else am I supposed to go? A little backstory on the property. We purchased it from Kevin, who's a school board member, and gave us a decent deal on the property. He had the property as a rental for his nephew for a few years. When his nephew started walking in his dad's footsteps by getting drunk and beating his girlfriend at the time, he evicted him from the property 2 years before we purchased it. When he evicted him, he emptied the contents of the garage as all scrap metal. He found that out Sunday morning when his uncle paid him a visit in jail. Kevin had other renters on the property after. He sold it to us because he didn't want the responsibility of it anymore. He's being charged with trespassing, criminal trespassing, breaking and entering, driving under the influence, and property damage of less than $500. Update. So it's been a little while. I didn't have a chance to meet with Kevin last Thursday since I damn near the day dealing with police who decided to just bring the attorney who's going to be prosecutor for this case. He was very impressed that I still had all the original receipt for all the tools due to last year's court case. All they would tell me is, because of how much in tools he had access to steal, he would be charged with criminal trespassing, breaking and entering with malicious intent, and attempt of grand larceny. Which all makes sense. He would not comment on the possible DUI charge, just asked for the footage of him driving in and shows me taking out the key, backing the story I gave the original officer. They were pretty happy with the evidence and said I should be able to get $500 for the damage done to the door as restitution. When the nephew was arrested, he was put into the drunk tank and used his cell phone to call his uncle. He was still so drunk that the officer had to get the number for him. He then told Uncle Kevin, "Get your butt down here and bail me out right now." Kevin responded with, "I'll see you in the morning, son." So Sunday morning, he went there to have a little chat. So since he was evicted after his arrest, he skipped town before his court case of assault and battery. His other cousin bailed him out and had skipped out on his bail. Cousin lost $750 on his bail, but it doesn't end there. He asked him what he did to support himself. He wheeled and dealed, as he put it. Worked a few cash construction job and farm job where, get this, he admitted to go back and steal tools, material, and parts to sell them in 3 states. He's been to West Virginia, Kentucky, and North Carolina, and ended up getting decent at locating parts and selling them. This is the twist. One person approached him because he was looking for a couple of blocks and transmission. He was offering $5,000 for those parts. Then he remembered that he had those exact parts sitting in his old garage in Virginia, and he was going to get them. He doesn't remember Saturday evening too well. He just remembered trying to use his key, and it didn't work on the house, and then noticed the door on the garage and tried to get in there since it never had a lock, but I found one that works. That's when Kevin broke the news that after a month of him skipping town, he cleared everything from the house and garage, brought in a dumpster from a scrap metal, and got $850 for all the metal found in the garage. So he asked him what he'd do with the money. He said he approached his other nephew to reimburse him for the bail money, but the nephew declined and offered it to the now ex-girlfriend. This boy lost his crap on his uncle and demanded he put up bail money. Then he asked if his truck was still at my place. He said no, state police has it. He turned white as a ghost. The plates he has on the truck are stolen tags from North Carolina. He has no driver's license. He asked him if he was in trouble in any other state. He said he didn't know. After he would score, he'd skip town. Kevin gave all that information to the attorney and for them to possibly check any other of the state and city for open investigation on theft. On Thursday, he demanded for a bail hearing, and it should come to no surprise that the judge denied any bail whatsoever. I asked Kevin what had happened to the ex-girlfriend. After the nephew was arrested, he went to visit her and wanted to make sure she was going to press charges so that the nephew might be able to get sober and get his life straight. He told her not to let nephew on the property, and he was going to give her a couple of months rent-free to figure things out. And our next story. Aggressive builder-developer mad at family not selling land to him. Family member bought land in 40s or 50s in a now very desirable area, big piece of property, flag lot with long private driveway. He built homes for a living. He built a house on his land, a shed, a small cottage, workshop. I'm helping dig through old paperwork, and I see these structures on a survey from years ago. The main house that he built was done entirely by him. Took him 2 years. It was inspected, up to code, all that stuff. He's now passed. His wife's in hospital at the moment. A builder bought a strip of land between this property and a cul-de-sac and now wants to develop 2 homes on it. He's running into issues with the town and also the neighbors who have showed up repeatedly at the town variance meetings. They want to keep the cul-de-sac how it is. They don't want additional homes at the end of it, etc. In order to keep costs down, he wanted to purchase land from my family, something about how it's going to cost a lot of money to expand the road further, but if he had more land, it would be easier. I don't really know all the details, just that he's a fast talker and he wanted an answer right away. He said he had some sort of engineer report done and started questioning about the structures on the property and said there's no CO for one of them. He said, how could he make the whole problem go away if the land would be sold to him, because then he would just demolish it and the town would never find out. He kept saying he needed to know ASAP about selling the land to him. He was told that the property owner, a widow, is currently in the hospital at the moment, and this is not an ideal time, and she does not have the final say. He quickly became aggressive, and the next day he left a voicemail asking to pop over and take a look around at the property. They didn't call him back, and next thing you know, he's driving down the long driveway snooping around. The property owner was annoyed that he showed up uninvited. She directed a family member to let his attorney know that she's not interested in selling after mulling it over. Fast forward a few weeks, and now there's another meeting at the town. The builder stands in front of the board and tells them that there is a illegal structure on the property. He says the taxes haven't been paid in years. He said there's an illegal septic system on the property, all falsehoods. He said the only people that benefit from him purchasing the cul-de-sac is the people with all the illegal structures. He never once proposed any sort of deal. He never once said, hey, I'd like to buy X amount of your land for this price. Nothing ever of that sort. He just kept pressuring for everyone to meet and talk things over, even though it was explained to him that the property owner is in the hospital. Update. But here's the thing, the taxes have always been paid and everything on the property is mostly up to code. This builder's aggressive tactics and false claims only strengthened our resolve. The developer, who never proposed a concrete deal, gets shut down. The family remains steadfast, showing that even amidst pressure and deceit, they won't be bullied into selling their cherished land. So it sounds like he's just threatening an old widow to scare her into selling. What an awful person. And our last story. A pickup in my pool. I argued with my neighbor almost every day. She was a former mayor's secretary, retired, and considered herself the queen of this town. She worked there for several years and believed she had connections with all the city authorities. Karen constantly shouted when I had a barbecue, saying that the smell of meat ruined her mood and the carcinogens from the smoke would give her a heart attack. And this despite the fact that I have a gas grill. She also kept yelling that I should demolish my pool because her grandchildren would drown in it when they came to visit her, even though I have a pretty high fence separating my yard from Karen's. And guess how many times her grandchildren visited her in the 5 years I've lived there? 0. Karen would sometimes throw trash into my pool, so I installed a camera and a motion sensor light at night. When Karen got scared by the light, she would run away like some kind of gremlin. And once when I went fishing with my girlfriend, this story happened. I came back from fishing and saw a police car near my house. When I got out, the officer approached me, and Karen ran up immediately in her bathrobe. Karen: I knew it was him! Officer, arrest him! Officer: Sir, are you the owner of this house? Me: Yes, what happened? I was fishing with my girlfriend for 2 days. Karen: It's him! He did everything! Arrest him immediately! Oh, to his partner: Take her, talk to her separately. Karen: Someone drove this lady's pickup into your pool and broke your deck and fence. Me: Unbelievable. K on the side: It was all him. I saw everything. Me: Well, let's check the camera footage. I have 2 cameras facing the backyard from Karen's side. K: Officer: Yes, that's great news. K: What? He stole my car. Arrest him. I have connections in the mayor's office. I invited the officer into the house to quickly see what had happened. I was in a bit of shock at that moment. The video clearly showed Karen driving through my fence, then the deck in her pickup, wearing large work gloves and falling into the pool, breaking part of the pool wall. Then for about 5 minutes, she tried to get out of the car. This was just at dawn, and I arrived home about an hour later. The officer didn't seem surprised when he saw it, but my girlfriend and I were astonished. Officer: Ha! Now my partner has bet me coffee. Karen was arrested, had to pay for the full repair of my pool and fence, and was sentenced to a year of community service. She had to sell her house and move to a worse neighborhood. Despite all the logic and problems she caused, I still feel a bit sorry for her. I'm only comforted by the fact that I have great new neighbors now. If you've ever dealt with a difficult neighbor or a tricky property situation, share your experience in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this one. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.